Today we're hitting Rollins Pass. It's just right outside Rollinsville, as you can see there, about 5 miles. Very pretty area, a lot of scenics. You're going to be in the mountains, like some trees. You're going to be with some nice single tracks. There was this, what appeared to be maybe a Jeep that was burnt or some vehicle, not sure what that's for. Never did find out the reasoning behind that. So today we'll be in the 2023 Outback Wilderness. So far on this one here, it's just all stock for the most part. A few small little things, but nothing that really makes it any better. So this pass starts out just kind of down some middle aspen trees. A little bumpy, not too bad, some water, which was kind of fun there. Just kind of kids enjoy going through that. This this little track here is going to be elevation 11,000, almost 700 feet. It's around 12 miles if we can make it all the way to the end. It's an out and back. At this time we did this during Father's Day, and there was no way to make it but about 75%. You'll see in the video here kind of where we have to stop and turn around. On the Onyx, it has it rated as a 3. Fun Track has this actually as an easy. All trails have it as a moderate, and Trails Off-Road has this a 2 or 3. I'm not really sure where the 3 part comes in. For the most part, this is a really easy trail. I would say any vehicle could probably make this. We did have before a Grand Caravan, and I would have never driven it down this road. But like my wife's stock 2018 Forester would be no problem. So I would say if you had anything with some decent ground clearance, aired down a bit. The biggest thing with this road is it is bumpy. It just beats the daylights out of you on this. So just be prepared for that part there, and you'll be okay. I think this is the sketchiest part, is a little washout there on the right hand side there. Or maybe it's right in here. But that's probably the scariest part or the craziest part of this trail here. So kind of going back on the with the bumpiest part, I did find out the reason why this road is not graded or anything's done to it is because it actually has a lot of prehistoric dating artifacts, things like that. And if they were to do anything with the road, there have been talks in the past apparently of blacktopping it or making it a hard surface, or at least grading it out and cleaning it up. And if they did, then they would basically make all of these artifacts permanent in there, so they can never dig back down to those. So that's part of the reason, because it's a historic road, why they have to do this. Early spring, as you can see, a lot of this area here has a lot of water crossings, like some puddles. Nothing too big. There's going to be one coming up here in a few minutes that probably went down to at least, I'd say, half the axles. But once again, still nothing too big for the car. So some of the fun parts with these roads is that they've got a lot of history behind them. For example, like this one here was originally a wagon road, and then a person named John Quincy Adams Rollins is the one who actually started this road. So that's kind of where it gets its name, from Rollins Pass. In 1904 to 1928, it was actually a railroad, and if you look as you go along the trail, you can still see some of the railroad ties, a couple railroad tracks, I believe, that are down this road. So it is kind of cool to see some of that. In around 1950 is when it was turned into an actual road. You used to be able to go all the way to Winter Park in this road. You can't anymore, because in 79 there was a collapse of the Needle Eye tunnel, which is the very top. You can hike to it still. You can't go through it or into it, but you can get to the top there. They fixed it in 1988, and then 1990 it ended up having a collapse again, and they just decided at that point to permanently close it off. Alright, you'll see here that we kind of moved back and forth trying to find a better line. At this time I didn't have skid plates, so since we don't have skid plates, wasn't really sure, never been outside the car doing these trails, so I just try to take a better line just in case. As you can see here, we're kind of trying to figure out what's going on. The GoPro definitely had a better view than we did inside the car. And that one there, I think, had a little big rock right there, so just kind of checking and going slow to check for it. So here's those two big water crossings. I probably would have did the first one and more of the second one if I'd had actual skid plates on the car, but I don't, so I just kind of took the edge. We were already kind of buried, I would say, up to at least the brakes. We could hear them hit the cold water and hiss. But this water hole here is probably the deepest one you'll come across. I'd be willing to bet it's probably maybe a foot in the middle, foot and a half. Still, once again, probably nothing for the Outback. Here's the roughest part, I would say, or one of the starts of the rough parts of like big rocks versus just being potholes that you have to go through. So just kind of vary through here carefully. And like I said, most of this path there's nothing on this that I've seen that would be anything that would really scare me per se or keep me from wanting to go back. Besides, it just was super rough. We aired down to about 18 to 20 psi when we go off-roading, and I mean it still is quite a bit on this road here, and we were traveling slower. Just the fact of I currently have the factory OEM tires, so that's a 225 65 17. So you can only air down so much on those, and the sidewall is only so big, so it doesn't give you a lot of cushions on this part. Like I said at the beginning, this goes through mostly through the forest, but keep your eye open because you see areas like this that you get to see a nice scenic little area, which is kind of nice. It does go a ways down. You get to see how high you've actually climbed and how steep this road really is. So definitely keep your eye open, definitely some picture opportunities. You'll see us stop the car every once in a while to get a picture. Now at this point is where we start to kind of get into some snow, as you can see there. At this point, just mostly off on the side, nothing on the trail so much yet. Now at this point, the wife was getting a little nervous, so she got out and attempted to be my spotter on the ground. And then the funny part is my son comes over and tries to do the same thing, so both kind of saying the opposite stuff. So this is kind of where the Rollins Trail ends for us. We're about 3/4 of the way through this. The snow is here. At this point, I edited it out, but I got out of the car, walked to the other side, and without skid plates, it just kind of bothered me with how deep the ruts were, and not actually knowing the car that well yet because it was still fairly new. So ended up backing out, and the rest of it we hiked up for a ways. We didn't make it all the way up to Yankee Doodle Lake, but we did get to meet some cool people, which a video in a few in a Bronco, new Bronco, and kind of got to see some cool waterfalls and sweet features. Let the dogs get out and kind of run around and play a little bit and go crazy. This is that Bronco. Guys are pretty cool on this, and I think this was fairly new to them also. So that was kind of cool. He kind of went through the snow here. And after watching him make path through the snow, I decided it was probably best not to try to make it, and I made a good choice on that. And we ended up having a Wrangler and a 4Runner stuck the same place we do, so it's always funny whenever those guys want to say how Subarus can't go in places. This is the trike back, and my son with the GoPro giving you a little view of what outside the car looked like. There's the two that got stuck. They had to winch the Wrangler out. It got stuck in that snowbank that we turned around on, and then the winch actually got hung up and wouldn't reel back in on the 4Runner, but I guess apparently they already got it fixed. So as you can see, it's definitely a bumpy ride going down through here, but some nice scenery, and nothing that would scare me too much for a Subaru or pretty much any SUV. Lift or no lift, the only thing I definitely would suggest is airing down, of course, because of the fact of just how bumpy and rough and sharp the rocks are. I wouldn't take anything like a minivan or a Prius, even though people said they'd seen some Priuses at the lake up above, so I guess some people are crazier than we are. Thanks for watching, thanks for enjoying this, stay tuned for some more off-road adventures.